Hello everybody and welcome back to the Healthy Orange Movie Reviews. I'm your host Bennett Campbell Ferguson, and today me and my wonderful panel of film enthusiasts are reviewing Tomorrowland. Enjoy. You know, this is not the worst movie in the universe.
It's not the worst!
Really endorsement.
Most people have stopped watching it at this point. Well, it's not the worst movie I've ever watched.
But for a number of reasons, some of which I'll get into, some of which I won't just because I don't want to go crazy.
And we'll be here until tomorrow.
I think this film is a complete piece of trash.
Agreed.
Yes.
Whoa!
And so, you know, let's just get it off our chest. You know, those of us who saw it, what was the worst thing about it?
I thought it was fucking boring.
Yes.
Like, okay, so this is a Disney themed land. Let's lock a bunch of writers in a room and see.
Let's see how depressing we can make Disneyland.
Build a story around it, and that's basically what it felt like. You know, kudos to Disney for letting us spend a lot of money.
That's so sad because I mean,
It's
all the
It
stuff.
is sad.
all
It
the
could have been a fantastic
Well, all the
concept.
stuff leading
It
up
should have
to it,
been.
it actually sounded kind of interesting.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's a
this
lot
is
of
some
marketing
good.
was really
The
good.
marketing was
The
incredible.
marketing was
for
The
it.
really
trailers were beautiful.
But the trailers were the only good parts of the whole movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
And see, I saw a clip when I went and saw Avengers Age of Ultron in IMAX. They're like, here's a sneak peek. They gave like a whole scene. It's the scene where she goes to his house and they end up breaking into it. Like the robots or whatever break into her house and like he uses all these traps and they get into a bathtub that launches away. And after I saw it, I was like, actually, that looked like a lot of fun. That could be fun. Like that, but that's all I saw. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe based on that, maybe that's the best part of the movie. I don't know. I'm like, they sold me. I was like, I'd see that.
Yeah.
The story was just so boring.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a terrible
and it's
story.
insulting too.
It's an insulting kind of storyline.
Wow.
I mean, I was telling Ben, I'm like, I already feel like George Clooney spends most of his life feeling like he's better than everybody else. So when he plays a character in a film who is also better than everybody else, I just can't handle it.
So I've got a question.
Yeah.
Brad Bird directed this, and
Yes.
he's done some really great movies. But one of the criticisms, or at least one of the analyses that has been leveled against him, is that he seems to be at least partially inspired by objectivist philosophy, which is this idea of the exceptional people in the world need to be allowed to be exceptional, that they need to be allowed to create and inspire and do these fantastic things without intervention from government, from religion, from anything. So I'm wondering, how much does that sort of ideology play into Tomorrowland? How
It
much
plays
does
into
It
it
plays
plays into it
entirely.
intensely.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what this
that's
is.
the movie. That's the whole point. But where it worked in Incredibles, it doesn't work here because I mean, I don't even know how to get into how it didn't work without just explaining the whole plot.
You
of
don't
how
know.
it did
Yes.
it.
What Mo was just describing, I was literally thinking, I was like, yeah, I remember seeing that in The Incredibles. Because I feel like that's
Yeah.
probably the most simplified version of someone for kids. But, I mean, what I will say is, in The Incredibles, the argument is like, it's not that we can't let you be incredible, it's that who's going to be accountable for when you destroy a building, when, countless lives are lost because, you're trying to help them.
And these
Right.
these
And
are
then-
reasonable questions.
I mean, that's what I said. and
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Like that one guy who's like, he's like, I wanted to kill myself and you saved me, and now I'm in immense pain and I'm still alive. Like that was not your choice for me to make. It's like, I'm like, so I mean, how come it works in The Incredibles, but it doesn't work in Tomorrowland? If it leans on that same kind of ideal.
You know, I mean,
It wasn't very well, that's the whole-
Did Brad Bird
Yeah.
write this one?
Oh yeah.
I thought
we
it was,
wrote it
I thought
with.
it was Damon Lindelof.
He wrote it with David Lindelof. Yeah. I think I mean, for lack of a better term, The Incredibles has more razzle dazzle. I mean, it's just cooler.
Give him the old razzle dazzle, Brad Bird.
It looks cooler. It's
Yeah.
it's more exciting. And this movie isn't. So it's like naturally it's going to be less persuasive. But you're right. That philosophy's in there, and there's a particularly potent moment where they say that Tomorrowland was created so these people could do what they do without interference from anyone, which is scary when you think about it.
Has anyone played Bioshock?
Yeah,
That's Bioshock.
Well, I have one more question about Tomorrowland for all of you.
Yes.
So, as much as I despise this movie, every time my meeting, you know, I mean, I do sort of admire the point it tried to make. I mean, there's that scene at the beginning where Britt Robertson, it's a montage of her in all different high school classes, and you know they're all talking about dystopia, and she's the only one who asks, you know, how do we fix this? What do we do? That actually reminded me of my high school experience. Every class they were telling, you know, us, you know, about how horrible the world was, and they never, you know, taught us, you know, what we could do to make it better. And you know, not full disclosure, I mean, you know, like I had a great high school experience. If any of my teachers are watching this, I love you forever. But
They're not grading you anymore, Ben. Stop sucking up.
But so, and then, you know, of course there's, you know, the product placement and all that, which kind of undermines all that. But is there any part of, you know, any of you that was sold on the idea, or did just
I
the
don't think
poor
so.
quality of the movie just undermine
I
what they were
think-
trying to say?
I think there were 2 reasons it didn't work for me. One was that that message, I mean, it could be a good message, but it was not the message that they sold in the marketing. And so
No.
I think a lot of people just came in and were turned off by that immediately of, so you suckered me in with the pictures of Tomorrowland and are now going to give me a 2-hour lecture.
Yeah.
And I think the second reason is that the movie itself, I mean, it did the same thing. The movie ended with, the world is terrible, but if you're optimistic enough, maybe you can change it single-handedly. I mean, that was the message. It was, this girl is super optimistic, and so she has the potential to change the future. It wasn't any kind of, I mean, there was no call to action or anything like that. It was just, well, now George Clooney and his teenage girl sidekick are making a video to send out to people and sending out the little robot children. But there was no, the motivation, I mean, they were just
There's
telling
just-
you to be optimistic about the future.
I mean, like what you're saying earlier, there's some noble ideas in this, but the delivery is just so flat.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost insulting. It's like a YouTube motivational video. Like, what?
Well, it's more
Yeah.
of a lecture even than a motivational talk. It's just, the world is terrible and it's because you're not optimistic about the future. Try to be more like George Clooney's first TV sidekick,
Sure.
whose name I seriously cannot remember. That's the only reason.
That's
I'm
not
choosing
really
that
good.
phrase.
But my
yeah.
question to the filmmakers, like, sure, that's an idea. Well, what's the next step after that? If you don't,
Yeah.
You're right.
if you don't articulate the next step, then you're insulting your audience.
Yeah.
Like, who's this for? Is this for like 4-year-olds or something? Like, I'm a fucking grown adult. Give me something more here to think
Yeah.
about.
I kind of want to play Bioshock now.